Welcome to the Magic in Moscato podcast. I'm your host, Jess Lynn, a single mama from a small town in upstate New York. I'm a former hustler who was drowning in debt turned money mindset, manifestation, and business coach. I help burnt-out online entrepreneurs step into their full authentic purpose, take massive aligned action, and live their most abundant lives. You might be thinking, magic isn't real, and this girl is nuts. Well, my friend, you're 50% right. I'm totally wacky, but magic is 100% real. I've discovered my life's work and passion teaching the law of attraction, quantum physics, and spirituality through years of diving deep into the inner parts of my soul after hitting rock bottom and fighting my way to the top. I'm so excited to share some of this work with you too. So grab a glass and let's cheers to magic. Hello. Friday. Cheers to the weekend. I am super excited. It has been quite the busy couple of weeks. My daughter is at her father's for the weekend. I have a facial and a massage scheduled first thing in the morning. So Mama is going to enjoy a glass of wine and then walk her booty next door to go grab something to eat for dinner. I am dog sitting, so I am vibing high today. Please let me know when you are hopping on. Let me know how your week has been, how your evening is going, if you have any fun plans for the weekend. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick sip of wine, and we're just going to dive right in. So probably one of the most common questions that I get asked, probably at least 10 times a week, is, do you still do network marketing? Are you still a Beachbody coach? Do you still help people on their health and fitness journey? And so I figured instead of trying to breadcrumb that answer, I would just kind of share a little bit of my story with Beachbody, how I got started in the online space, and why it has been such a huge part of my life and has helped me become a CEO of my own business, Next Level Magic. So the short answer to that is yes. I still do partner with Beachbody. I still do network marketing. It is just no longer the forefront of what I focus on. I launched my own business in June of 2019, Next Level Magic, and it is a manifestation and mindset business. I actually help other online entrepreneurs create more momentum and magic in their online businesses, whether they do network marketing, whether they want to create their own business, or whether they're feeling really stuck or really stagnant in their online business. So in 2019, I started my own gig and I did both for a while. So up until, probably February of this past year, I did both, and I really made an effort to focus on both. But I'm going to share a little bit about why I think network marketing is actually a beautiful thing, why I will always support men and women who do network marketing, who partner with MLMs, and why I will always bleed Beachbody blue. So I'm going to share a little bit about how I got involved in network marketing, why I got involved in network marketing, and then I'm going to address some of the common questions that I get asked. I wrote down a few of the ones that I've had probably over the course of the last couple of months. So first things first is Beachbody entered my life at the most perfect time. I was in a very, very low place in my life about 6 months prior to joining. I had gone through a series of tests. I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. I have something called Fifth's disease. Thankfully, mine is not chronic. We won't really ever know if it is until I have another flare up. But I was a huge partier in college, and coming out of college, I let a lot of those habits kind of trickle into my everyday life. I used to be a smoker. I know. I used to smoke. I used to drink. I used to party. And so I cut all of that out cold turkey, but I was still experiencing a ton of like really scary, bizarre symptoms. And so I started to get a series of tests done, had like all of these panels done, and was like $2,000 in medical bills later for them basically just to diagnose me with an autoimmune disease. And they basically told me the only way that you're going to keep this at bay is if you make your health and fitness a priority. And at that point in my life, I joined a CrossFit gym because I was like, well, that's the only, that was like, the big popular up and coming thing. But I had actually done Insanity, which you guys probably know Sean T. He's like the face of Insanity or hip hop abs. I had done Insanity in college and actually completely changed my life in terms of like the physical sense. I became a more confident version of me because of the way that I looked from these programs when I was doing them in college, but didn't necessarily embody it on a level where it was like, full mental, spiritual, emotional, nutritional, all of those things. And so I joined a CrossFit gym because that was like the popular thing in like 2013. It's still probably pretty popular, but I was then introduced to my upline by just chance. She actually she's from Michigan. She now lives in Chicago. She's actually one of my best friends. Shout out to my girl Sam. Wouldn't be where I am today without you. She is the real OG, and she is actually probably the biggest reason why I am where I am today. And so I joined on a whim. I had no idea like that you could actually make money doing what I do. I just wanted to be a part of something that felt like a community. I knew that the Beachbody fitness programs were amazing because I had again done Insanity in college, but I was like, what do you mean? Like I could make money doing this? Like I thought I was going to become like a personal trainer. I was like, this is great. I could be a personal trainer. And so I actually really didn't do anything with the business for the first 6 months. I blew my upline off probably twice before I actually hopped on a call with her, and she was like, listen, I think that you have potential to be really successful in this business, but you have to believe in yourself. And she ended up enrolling me in some sort of training. Shout out to Chelsea and Rob. And it was a training that basically taught you how to start your business, how to kickstart your business. And from there, I booked a flight to Nashville on a whim for like our annual event. I literally overdrew my account and called into my corporate job because they wouldn't give me the time off. I literally was like, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm gonna make this a priority. I'm going all in. My boss wouldn't give me the time off of work. I was at a corporate job at the time. And I overdrew my account to book like a $900 plane ticket because it was last minute. And I called into work from Nashville and was like, I'm sick, I can't come into work. And I basically like sat in an auditorium and saw these other men and women who were earning, 6, 7 figures, leading these incredibly healthy lives and having like the most freedom that I could have ever imagined. And I was like, oh my gosh, I crave that. Like, if they can do it, why not me, right? And so that was kind of the mindset that I needed because I actually saw a lot of myself in these individuals, right? And so from there, I kind of just kickstarted my business, and I was working 3 corporate jobs at the time, or not 3 corporate jobs. I was working 3 jobs, a corporate job and 2 part-time jobs. So I was working like 70 to 90 hour weeks on top of building my online business. And eventually I was making enough to where I could make it a full-time gig. Insert income disclaimer, because I know I have to put that in here, even though it's not the preface of this. But by October of 2016, my daughter's father and I made the decision that I would stay home with my daughter because I was making enough money to basically make it a full-time income. And so I did that for a while, and it was really, really good and really incredible until all of a sudden my business started going backwards. Now, again, I'm going to talk about all of the reasons why I think that this is amazing, but I'm also going to talk to you about why network marketing is so important to my journey, my story, and how it ultimately led me to where I am today and being the CEO of my own business, okay? But in 2018, I made the decision that I was probably going to become a single mom very soon. I knew that my relationship with my daughter's father was probably coming to an end, and my income was going backwards. And I couldn't understand why I was doing all of the things, okay? And I'm going to talk mindset at the end of this, so I need you guys to pay attention to this point in the story. I was doing upwards of 50 to 100 invites a day on my own. Okay, so I had a 1.5-year-old running around. I was doing 50 to 100 invites a day, in addition to my workout, in addition to creating content, in addition to planning posts, in addition to hopping on Zoom calls for new coaches, in addition to like doing all of these things. And I was preaching a lifestyle of freedom. Meanwhile, I was literally a prisoner to my own ways. I was doing all of these things and I literally could not move the needle forward, and I couldn't figure out why. And so I was getting resentful because I was seeing all these other coaches in the network doing less than me in terms of actual business building behaviors and scaling their businesses quicker. And of course, that's ultimately going to lead to burnout. I was at this point almost 4 years into the company. I was a 5-star in one business center and a 1-star in my daughter's father's business center, which I knew when him and I parted ways that business center would go away. So I knew that when I became a single mom, not only was my business going backwards, but I also knew that like that business center was going to go away. So I was going to lose a third of my income, which is completely terrifying, right? Hi, Kate. Hi, Lindsay. So I was terrified, and I thought, okay, if I'm going to become a single mom, my income's going backwards. I'm going to lose this business center. That's a third of my income that's already getting smaller. And I was literally terrified. And of course, burnout is a big thing. And I'm looking around and I'm seeing all these people doing half of the amount of things that I'm doing and earning more, and I was exhausted. And so I actually debated on throwing in the towel. I actually debated on quitting and basically saying, you know what, this isn't for me. I have done it for 4 years. I don't make 6 figures. I don't understand like why I'm doing all the things and my business won't grow. And I actually debated on having a conversation with my upline and telling her that I was going to quit and telling her that I was done, that I was going to go back to a corporate job, or I was going to go back to waitressing, and that I was going to just throw in the towel. But like any relentless Aries, Enneagram 3 Wing 4, ENFP out there, so I hold a lot of masculine energy. Like I've built most of my businesses with a very with what we would call empowered masculine energy. Now, we often tend to overdo it and we slip into some disempowered masculine energy, which is normal, but what's important is when we recognize it and then we can say, okay, now it's time for us to shift back into either that empowered masculine energy or into that divine feminine energy. So I ultimately ended up hiring a mentor and I started doing energy work. I started to understand the law of attraction. I started to implement a daily gratitude practice. I started to journal. I started to fully embody everything that I was feeling and taking everything in. So money mindset was a huge component of my transformation, and it's pretty much the forefront of what I teach as a money mindset and manifestation business mentor now, because it is what changed my life. So I did this work with my mentor for about a year, and in the process of doing all of this work, I was introduced to a ton of different books, authors, gurus, if you will, and a lot of the books that I read were all on money mindset, abundance mindset, wealth management, understanding what it's like to live life as a wealthy woman, all of these things that I had never experienced before, because all of the other books that I'd ever read for personal development were like, you know, the 10x rule, you got anything that was like, you got to do more to be more. And I was literally like, there's no way I could have been doing any more in my business. Like I would wake up some days and I would be up at 3:30 in the morning, and then I wouldn't go to bed until 11:30 at night because I was trying to check all of the boxes and like none of it was getting done, right? Hi Danielle, hello, thank you so much for tuning in. So I was at that point where I was like, I couldn't have possibly done more. And so I started to open my mindset to reading other personal development that was not about the hustle mentality. It was about shifting your mindset, shifting your perspective. And that's kind of when everything started to change. Ultimately, my business stopped going backwards. I actually started to attract more of like my ideal clientele. I started to attract more clients in my Beachbody business that were just like me because I was starting to show up as me. I was starting to show up as the version of me that I had kept hidden for a really long time. I'm really big on preaching authenticity and like stepping into your full authentic purpose and just being true to who you are and not giving a crap about what anyone thinks. Like, you could be silly and sexy. You can be weird and cool. You could have it all together and be a hot mess. You can like be happy and sad at the same time, and you don't have to feel like you have to have it all together in order to be successful. And so once I started to really shift my mindset, I started to really work on a wealth, like, the abundant mindset. And I started to really like view myself as a wealthy woman. And that might trigger some of you guys, but if you always identify as someone who's broke, guess what? You're always going to live your life as someone who's broke. So you have to start to change the paradigm. You have to start to shift the perspective. So while I was doing this work, I was $29,000 in debt and overdrawing my account weekly. Like, I was the definition of broke, but I had to stop identifying as someone who was broke. And so instead, I started to identify as someone who had money. And of course, there wouldn't have been the conscious belief of being a wealthy woman. So I had to make one step into a better mindset. So I couldn't just go from identifying as broke to someone who identifies as a wealthy woman, but I had to stop identifying as broke. And so I started showing up as someone who just attracted money. And so I started little tips like, I am a money magnet, and just little tiny things here and there so that I could start to shift my perspective and I could start to live in the new story, even though the old story was still present in my life. Right? Because if I continue to identify as someone who was broke, I would have always stayed broke. So I had to do the work to shift that. And so ultimately, I did start to attract more of my ideal clientele. I was signing up coaches that were more of like, my ideal rock star coaches, and it was incredible until I realized that it was a lot of work for still very little payout. Okay, and now I'm going to talk about why there are people that have massive success in network marketing. So again, I'm not going to bash network marketing because I love it and I'm grateful for it and I will always bleed Beachbody blue. But I'm going to talk about the unconscious patterns that we have and why there are people that see massive success in network marketing and why there are people who don't. Okay, and I'm going to literally just teach it through my story. So the first thing is that when I started tapping into this wealth mindset, abundance mindset, and started to shift the way that I saw myself and started to show up as the wealthy woman and not as the broke bee, I started to read books and literature about being wealthy. The beautiful thing is that most of these people, most of the multimillionaires and multi-billionaires of the world are pro MLM. Are pro if you are looking for a way to make money and create financial freedom in your life, start with an MLM, start with network marketing. Why? Because the hard parts are taken out for you. You don't have to create a business structure. It is literally created for you. All you have to do is show up and do the work, and everything else is done for you. Okay, so like if there are people out there that are looking to create financial freedom and that is their main goal, the multimillionaires and multi-billionaires of the world will tell you network marketing is always a go. Okay, and there are a lot of people out there that like to bash MLMs, that like to bash network marketing. And literally, I think that those people have way too much time on their hands, and 9 times out of 10, those people are also broke. I'm just going to call it like I see it, and I'm just going to call them out because I honestly believe it's true. Because I'm like, if you have time to sit there and bash people on social media, you could be out there living your best life, okay? So I'm just going to say that. Also, 7 streams of revenue. It is so important to always be focusing on new streams of income. 7 streams of income is where it's at. Because God forbid something were to happen with one, you have 6 more to fall back on. All right, so a lot of people have a skewed concept of network marketing because they think that it's a scam, that it's a pyramid scheme, and of course, there are things that are bad that exist everywhere. There are good people, there are bad people. There are good bosses, there are bad bosses. There are great companies, there are not so great companies, right? There are good cops, there are bad cops. Like, there's good and bad in everything. And so what happens is people get a bad taste in their mouth about one thing and they think it applies to everything. Perfect example is when I was in college, I tried to sell Mary Kay. Now, homegirl, not really passionate about makeup. I wear mascara, like every now and again I get glammed up. 9 times out of 10, I'm throwing mascara on my face and there's like no foundation on this bee, right? Like I was not passionate about selling makeup. And so that was a business that I lost money in because I invested a ton of money up front and didn't do anything with it and then was out that money, right? I could have chosen to have a salty taste in my mouth, right? I could have, or a bad taste in my mouth, or be salty about it. But I knew that I didn't do the work that I needed to do in order to be successful, right? I think a lot of times people go into network marketing also thinking that it's going to be a get rich quick scheme. It is not. You have to put in the work. I was someone who put in the work for 4 years and then still debated on quitting, right? So, but they do say, the millionaires and billionaires of the world, if you actually read literature that is based on abundance mindset, that is based on creating wealth in your life, they say to start with network marketing if you don't know where to start, okay? So it's just a great place to start no matter what. Number 2 is I am where I am today because of Beachbody. I could never part with it even if I wanted to. So even though I'm not actively recruiting, I'm not actively enrolling clients, I'm not actively out there building my team, I am the person that I am today because Beachbody gave me the tools and resources that I needed to be successful. It taught me what it means to go all in on you. It has taught me how to take care of my body from the inside out. It has taught me how to show up for something that is bigger than me. It has taught me how to show up for other people. It has taught me leadership. It has taught me entrepreneurship. I have an associate's in business and I learned more building a business as a Beachbody coach just from figuring it out and just from showing up and having upline support and having team support and having the belief that something bigger than me was possible than I did in college. I learned more from building a network marketing business than I actually did having an associate's degree in business. I wouldn't be the person that I am today if it were not for Beachbody. I still use all of the products. I still use all of the programs. I will always bleed Beachbody Blue. Why? Because it is a pillar of my business. Because when I show up for me first, I am a better me for the rest of the world. I am a better me for my clients. I am a better me for my friends. I am a better me for my family. I am a better mom to my child. And I would not be this version of me if I didn't have the opportunity to press play every single day on a workout in a portal that just makes life so easy to access. I am who I am because of where I came from. And so it's something I could never leave behind because it is ultimately who I am. So when people ask, do you still do Beachbody? I'm like, well, yes and no, because while I don't actively recruit, while I have not actively promoted a challenge group in probably now, I think it's 3 months. I think we were, the last challenge group I promoted for was like in May and we're in August now. I will always show up for the fitness programs. I will always show up for the nutrition plans. I still have my clients and my coaches. I still support them. I still have a space for them, but it is just not something that I actively promote. But I think a lot of people have a very skewed concept of network marketing because there are people in their friend circle, in their social circle, from their family that started with network marketing and they have a bad taste in their mouth because of it. Now I'm going to also tell you why there are people that are massively successful in network marketing and why there are people that struggle, okay? I touched on this in the beginning, I'll touch on it again. A lot of times people use network marketing as a way to get rich quick. So even though there is literature out there that will tell you if you are looking to create a stream of income that is effortless, that you are looking to create, have a multiple 6-figure, multiple 7-figure lifestyle, and you're not sure where to start with network marketing. That does not ultimately mean that you are going to be successful with it, okay? It takes a lot of hard work, diligence, and skill. It is not something that you are going to show up for one day and can just show up for a week here, a week there, and then go away for a month and then decide you want to come back a week later. You have to be willing to show up even when you don't see the magic happening. And that applies to any business. So if you're out there looking for financial freedom and you're not willing to put in the work, now I preach aligned action now, okay, because there's a difference between spinning your tires and doing something that moves the needle forward every single day. Okay, there is a difference. But people join network marketing thinking that they are going to get rich quick. A lot of that has to do with the way that it's promoted sometimes. Truth be told, you have to be willing to show up even when you don't see the results. That might mean showing up for 6 months straight without ever having a sale. That might mean showing up for 3 years before you're able to replace your corporate income. That might mean showing up for 4.5 years and wondering what the heck you're doing with your life and if you're ever going to see success. But that does not mean that you quit. If it is truly meant for you, then you are going to continue to show up in a big way. But why sometimes it gets a bad rep is because of, I believe, the lack of proper coaching when it comes to network marketing, okay? And my upline is incredible, okay? I'm going to like shout them from the rooftops because there is not a team, I believe, in our network that is as incredible as our upline. They have given us the most incredible trainings ever. But there is a stigma that you have to always work harder to achieve more. Now, this works for people that have an unconscious blueprint, that have a money blueprint. So we are all designed with a money blueprint or a success blueprint, okay? That like we have been creating this since birth. So from the time that we were zero, like in utero, okay, we were taking on genetic patterns, ancestral cords. Okay, I'll do a video on ancestral cords and like basically like familial curses, right? So you hear of like family curses, right? That's like an ancestral cord, right? So when you are literally in utero, like things are getting passed down to you. So you could have like from birth a blueprint that basically tells you you're broke. So if you're someone who, if your blueprint tells you that you have to work really, really, really hard for very little payoff, and these are things that you could have been picking up from early childhood, early adolescence. I know for me, my parents made me get a job when I was literally like 12. Okay, so, and like my family always told me you have to work, if you want that, you have to work really, really hard for it. Now, I'm not like, our parents don't ever intentionally try to like give us limiting beliefs, but like everything in my childhood that we wanted, we had to work really, really hard for it. So my unconscious blueprint, my success blueprint was, if you want it, you have to work really, really hard for it. I also saw my parents work really, really hard for not a lot of payout, right? I saw my parents working insane hours just to be lower middle class. So my unconscious blueprint was you work really, really hard for very little payout. So if someone has that unconscious blueprint and they go into network marketing and their subconscious tells them you have to work really, really hard, but you'll only ever be mediocre, they're only ever going to be mediocre. So here's me 4 years in doing 100 invites a day while Susie May sits next to me and does 5, and she's at 6 figures and I'm over here at 30,000 a year. Her blueprint was different than my blueprint. So when people say, oh, just do more invites, just show up more, just work harder, sometimes that doesn't work if you actually aren't getting to the root cause, if you aren't getting to the core of the problem, right? You're just slapping a Band-Aid on it. It's not going to work. Then there are people whose unconscious blueprint, whose success blueprint, money blueprint is, I work really, really hard for just enough. And so these are the people that they work really, really hard and they see a decent amount of success, right? So they're like, okay, like I could put in 70 hours a week because then I'm making $70,000 a year, okay? So it's like they're putting in a lot of work, but it's like sort of worth the payoff. But what happens is unless they, again, address the core wound and actually realize that the reason that they are never going to get over that threshold of average or mediocre is because there is a subconscious blueprint that is literally keeping them from going there. They're only ever going to stay there. And then of course we have people, and these are the unicorns, and these are the ones that we kind of see that like they're it, right? They're the ones whose subconscious blueprint is you can like they might have to do very, very little work for a high payout, or even if they're doing a lot of work, if they're still getting a high payout, it's worth it to them. Okay, so let's talk about that. There are people who literally they go into it and their thought process is, I'm gonna just have fun, I'm gonna do what feels good, and I'm gonna make a fuck ton of money. That's actually how I run my business now. That's now that I'm the CEO of my own business, I literally only do things in my business that are fun, that are easy. I literally it's incredible. I'm like, I never would have thought that the business I run now would be this easy, this abundant, this joy filled based on my past patterns. But it's because I chose to see and do things differently. I couldn't keep spinning my tires doing the way that I was doing it over and over and over and over again for 5 years in network marketing. I had to be willing to see and do things differently. So there are some people that go into network marketing and they're like, I can literally just do the basics, make it easy peasy lemon squeezy, and I'll still be insanely successful. And guess what? They are. There are also people that, and these are the workhorses, right? These are usually the ones that say, oh, you just got to do more invites. You just have to work harder, put more hours in. They're the ones who they actually see what they're putting in is worth it because what they're getting out of it is tremendous, right? So they might be putting in the same amount of invites or the same amount of hours as you, right? So here's Jess Lynn over here doing 100 invites a day, making $30,000 a year. And here's Susie May over here doing 100 invites a day, and she's making $300,000 a year. Susie May is like, this is great. I'm gonna tell everyone in my downline to do 100 invites a day because that's how I make $300,000 a year. Meanwhile, Jess Lynn's over here doing 100 invites a day and she's at $30,000 a year and she's pissed off at Susie May because she's like, what am I doing wrong? Right? Because Susie May has a completely different unconscious blueprint than Jess Lynn. So Jess Lynn doing 100 invites a day is never going to move her needle forward because Jess Lynn hasn't addressed the core wound. That she has a scarcity belief system that is literally ingrained in her energy body, and until she chooses to work on the core belief and unravel the subconscious pattern, she's never going to get to where Susie May is. Okay? So, that is why there are people that see no success in network marketing. That is why there are people that see mediocre success in network marketing, right? Like I had mediocre success in network marketing. I replaced a corporate income. I was making, again, insert income disclaimer, I was making $30,000-ish a year, but what I was putting in wasn't worth what I was getting out because I had no freedom. I was literally like, I am doing 100 invites a day, 7 days a week. I'm working around the clock and nothing is moving forward. And then there are people, the unicorns, and these are the ones that see the massive success, that some of them don't have to work really, really hard. Other ones will preach working really, really hard because both have seen success in different ways because their subconscious is programmed to attract success that way. Sometimes we unlock codes unconsciously. So there are people that might have come from childhoods that were surrounded by scarcity that still see insane amounts of success in network marketing because they may have unconsciously unlocked a code or unraveled a pattern or seen someone else do something differently and all of a sudden something like went, oh, I can do that too. But sometimes the conscious aha moment isn't the only moment that we need in order to achieve success. We have to have a subconscious and conscious connection. We need to be in pure alignment in order for us to receive. And if your subconscious is saying, no, we live over here in Lackland, but your conscious mind is like, oh, I want $1 million, it's duality. You're never going to attract $1 million because your subconscious controls 99.9% of what you do, which means your conscious mind is only in control of 0.01% of that. That's why willpower doesn't last very long. And that's why willpower feels really, really hard because willpower is conscious power. So you're trying to use 0.01% of your mind to override 99.9% of how you've operated your everyday life since birth. That's why there's so many people that struggle with weight loss. or with eating disorders or eating healthy or attracting success is because their subconscious has operated one way for their entire life or for the majority of their life. And so while they consciously want to be able to eat healthy all the time, while they consciously want to be able to lose the weight, while they consciously want to be able to attract the success or attract the millions of dollars, their energy body has been living by a different set of rules their entire lives. And until they choose to do the work to rewrite that pattern on a subconscious level, there will always be duality. And they will never be in pure alignment. It'll be very, very hard to attract success. Can they attract success? Absolutely. But it is going to be a lot of willpower. It's going to be a lot of hustle. There are people that make millions of dollars doing it in a very, very hustly way. There are also people that make millions of dollars doing it in a very, very easy way. I made a decision in 2018 that I was no longer going to make my money the hard way. That I was sick and tired of preaching freedom, but being a prisoner to my own ways. And so I said, I am literally going to make making money easy. Because I've made making money really, really hard, and I'm not making a lot of money. So why not do the opposite of what I'm doing, make it easy, do a fourth of what I've been doing, and see what happens. So I literally stopped doing invites, literally went from 100 invites a day to like 5 to like none, okay? My business grew. Couldn't tell you how, because it's magic, okay? It's literally just working on your mindset, abundance mindset. And I did, and just focusing on shifting my patterns, right? If we expect a different outcome, then we have to stop doing things the way that we've been doing them. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So it's like if you're doing 100 invites a day and for 2 years you've still been at 30K, well, it's clearly not doing more invites that's the answer. Maybe try living your life differently. Try taking things off the table. Right? So we have all of these rules that we live by, okay, and I'm going to wrap it pretty soon because I'm going to try to keep this under 40 minutes. We have all these rules that we live by. And a lot of times when people join network marketing, they don't even understand subconscious, conscious energy work, understanding our blueprint. Like they don't even know what that means, right? And so they have all these rules that they're unconsciously living by. And a lot of uplines that have seen success too don't really have, an understanding of how the subconscious works, neuro-linguistic programming, any of those things. And so those uplines that are seeing success are literally just feeding their downline the things that worked for them, which is great. And again, I love my freaking upline. I love our entire team. They are incredible. Like this is literally just like across the board mentality, right? And so sometimes the answer isn't telling your downline to do more. A lot of the times that might not be the answer at all. A lot of it might be give yourself some space to receive. Give yourself a chance to live your life. Like go out and smell the roses once in a while, because you can't sit here and preach freedom and do the complete opposite, because also that's out of integrity and that's out of alignment. I hate the saying fake it till you make it, because I faked that shit for 4.5 years, and now like there will be posts that pop up on my memories that literally make me cringe, because I'm like, oh my God, like I was literally like lying to myself. Like I'm like, oh my God, like no. Where now it's like I've literally done less work in my entire life. Like I literally show up and drink wine and go live and talk about manifestation and magic and money and weird shit, and I've never attracted more abundance in my life. One of the things that a lot of people I think get peeved about is the MLM hoppers. Okay, we all know them. We all know those girls. Okay. Those girls, guys, they've done like 20 different MLMs in like 1 year. My advice to you, celebrate them. Celebrate them. Because they are simply just trying to find what works for them. Guys, when I joined in 2015, 2013 is when I graduated college. When I joined in 2015, and then, 2016, I'm starting to make more money, and I'm like, oh my God, by mid 2016, I was, making a corporate income. I thought that the only way I was ever going to be a six-figure earner, anything in life, seven-figure earner, millionaire, billionaire, was with network marketing, right? Because I loved what I do. I still love what I do. Like, health and fitness is a huge part of who I am. But that was the only thing that was the only way that I thought I could ever attract success. Because I thought that the only way I'd ever see success in the online space was with network marketing. And so a lot of these people that are hopping MLMs, they're not doing it because they're disingenuous. They're not doing it because they're trying to con you. They're doing it because they're simply just trying to find their way. I would never have known unless I literally had a breakdown that network marketing wasn't going to be the be all end all for me. I would have never known unless I had a breakdown that I was going to start my own business, and that's how I was going to start a six-figure online business, which doesn't logically make sense because like barely anyone tunes into my lives, right? It's because I don't believe that anything has to be logical. I don't believe in the numbers game. I don't believe in any of that. I literally just believe in showing up for what you're energetically aligned to show up for, and showing up to do things that feel good and that are fun and that feel expansive, and your people will find you. Literally, my motto is focus on the one. Focus on the one, and your people will find you. Because to me, I always knew that I wanted to have an online presence and that I wanted to change people's lives and that I wanted to inspire people. And I always knew that God had a conviction on my heart and that I was meant to share my story. But I thought that I could only do it with Beachbody. So when I started my own business in 2019, I had immense guilt. I felt like I was literally cheating on a boyfriend or something. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I'm cheating on this thing over here that's been my baby for 5 years. I had immense guilt. And I started to question, I'm like, oh, I wonder if this is what people feel like when, they do like this MLM and that MLM. And my advice to you is celebrate those people, support those people. You don't have to purchase anything from them, like their posts, send them a message, let them know that you're just supporting them and you're celebrating them and that you are clapping for them, finding their way, finding their voice, finding what works for them. Because clearly, network marketing wasn't the be all end all for me. So maybe this network marketing company for Susie May might not be the right answer for Susie May. She might have to try 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 before she finds the one. Jumping from one to the other might lead him or her to the thing that does help him or her step into their full authentic purpose. Celebrate those people because they're simply just trying to figure it all out and find their way. And if they keep showing up, eventually they will. And I promise you, because I know there's probably people that listen to my story and they're like, holy shit, 6 years is a really long time to achieve success. Yeah, but it's worth it. Because the life that I live now, I wouldn't change a damn thing. Not a damn thing. And then also, for those judgy people out there, I'd say, if you're worried about those MLM hoppers or those people that you see kind of like changing what they're doing online all the time, worry about your own self. If you got enough time to be worried about what other people are doing and thinking negatively of them, you could be out there making your own bucks. Okay? So, anyways, that's what I have for you guys today. I feel like I just get this question a lot. At the end of the day, what I do with network marketing is a pillar of who I am. Beachbody is the reason that I'm the person that I am today. And even though I haven't like actively recruited for a boot camp or a challenge group, it is still a huge part of who I am today. I will always bleed Beachbody blue. I am big on just living a healthy lifestyle. A part of being in pure alignment is healthy body, mind, and soul. So that comes down to moving your body every single day, eating high frequency, nutritious foods, living a balanced lifestyle, okay? And making sure that you're feeding your mind the right things. And that when there's those negative thoughts or negative external factors that try to creep in, that you always do the work to affirm the opposite. And that you are always trying to see things differently. And I'm not saying live a toxic positivity lifestyle because we do need to feel what we are meant to feel. But do the work to worry about you and own you and focus on your energy and where your energy is going. And when you do that, whether it takes 1 year, 6 years, or 16 years, if you keep your focus and you keep your eye on the prize, you will win. Focus on what feels good to you, being expansive, being in pure alignment, no matter who shows up, whether 20 people show up or 2 people show up. It does not matter because when you are in pure alignment and you are doing things that are energetically aligned, that raise your vibration, and that work for you because they work for the whole, nothing can keep you from your purpose. Nothing could have kept me from what I do now. And so I'll close with this. In March, I prayed a prayer. Okay? And this is ultimately why I made the decision to step back. I asked God to show me. I said, God, things are really amping up in the next level magic world. And I was emotional because I was like, okay, I need to know, I need to know if I need to let this other part of me go. The other part of me being Beachbody. Not saying quitting, but not actively recruiting. And I said, I need you to show me the answer. I said, I'm not going to promote Beachbody for the entire month of April. I'm literally not going to talk about it. I'm not going to do anything. And I need you to show me if this is the right step for me. April, at that point in my business, was the biggest month I'd ever had. It was a 12.3K cash month. 90% of that came from Next Level Magic, not from Beachbody. And that was the answer that I needed. God literally showed me, you're not going to focus on that because this is where you're meant to step into. This is your purpose. This is what you're meant to do right now. That doesn't mean that I'm never going to promote for Beachbody ever again. That doesn't mean that I'll never go back to it. I still do the programs and use the products every single day. But literally, God gave me the answer. I prayed a prayer. I asked for an answer, and God gave me the answer. And then in June, I had a 15.2K cash month and manifested like $5,000 out of nowhere. So it's like a 20K cash month. Every single month has only gotten better because I've acted out of alignment. And I've stepped into my purpose. And it might not be the way that I thought it was going to look in 2013. But I didn't give up. And I just had to be willing to see and do things differently. And so, no, I don't actively promote for it anymore. Yes, I will always bleed Beachbody Blue, and I still use all of their programs and products. And yes, I will always support network marketing and multi-level marketing and anyone who chooses to use that as a way to create abundance in their lives, because I truly believe that it helps us become a better version of us. It teaches us business, and it teaches us entrepreneurship on every single level. So with that, I'm going to chug my wine. I'm going to go out to dinner, treat myself to some yummies. Hope you guys all have a beautiful weekend, and I will upload this to the podcast probably on Monday. Thank you guys for tuning in, and have a blessed weekend. Bye, guys.